Uzbekistan, often referred to as the heart of Central Asia's cultural heritage, offers diverse architecture, majestic mountain peaks, and ancient cities shaped by thousands of years of history. For centuries, it stood as a crucial stop along the legendary Silk Road, vital for trade and cultural exchange. Upon arrival, tourists may quickly realize they're on the brink of becoming millionaires. Thanks to inflation, less than $100 is all it takes to exchange over 1 million of the local currency, Uzbek som. Well known for its warm hospitality, friendly locals eagerly welcome travelers with open arms. With over 35 million inhabitants, Uzbekistan is the most populated country in Central Asia. It has a strategic location as it shares borders with every state of Central Asia: Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and also Afghanistan to the south. Several languages can be found in the region, with Uzbek as the official, alongside Russian, which is widely spoken due to historical ties. Covering an area of approximately 450,000 square kilometers, Uzbekistan's landscape is as varied as its people. From the vast arid Kizilkum and Karakum deserts in the west to the fertile valleys and snowy mountains in the east. Its diverse population consists of various ethnic groups. Uzbeks make up around 80%, followed by Tajiks and also Kazakhs, Russians, Koreans, Tatars, Karakalpaks, and Ukrainians. 90% of Uzbeks claim to follow Islam, although the vast majority are not practicing. About 9% of the population, mostly Russians, are Christians. Uzbekistan's history was always different compared to the rest of Central Asia, with mostly settled communities rather than nomadic tribes. The land blossomed and experienced an impactful era in the 14th century with the rule of Timur. Celebrated as a national hero in Uzbekistan, this conqueror expanded his empire as far as India and the Ottoman Empire. While his impact beyond Central Asia was often devastating, the region flourished during his reign. Now, Timur's legacy is evident in every city throughout the country. The name Uzbek originates from Uzbek Khan, a descendant of Chinggis Khan, whose reign brought prosperity to the region. He adopted the Turkic language, embraced Islam, and was tolerant towards other religions. Uzbek commanded one of the largest armies of the era, with over 300,000 warriors. By the end of the 14th century, local tribes had begun to name themselves after him. Later on, Uzbekistan's history experienced a new chapter, the arrival of the Russians. In 1924, a whole map was drawn, divided, and suddenly Uzbekistan regained first shape. Despite challenges such as Stalin's purges and the bloody transition to agriculture, Uzbekistan declared independence in 1991, led by President Karimov. Uzbek capital Tashkent is often the hub where many travelers begin their journey. Tashkent means the city of stone in Turkic, and its history dates back to the 2nd century before Christ. One of the most visited landmarks is Chorsu Bazaar, Uzbekistan's largest market, characterized by its iconic giant green dome. Here, visitors can explore acres of stalls offering vibrant displays of spices, sweets, nuts, meat, pickles, clothing, fresh bread and fruits. A popular local delicacy is kurt, dried yogurt ball with salt, famous throughout Central Asia. Shashlik, a favorite grilled ground meat dish, is available at every corner. Although Tashkent is in the shadow of cities like Samarkand and Bukhara, it still has important sights to offer. One of its most majestic buildings is Islamic Civilization Center, which is being reconstructed to become a scientific educational hub. Nearby lies Hazrati Imam complex made of madrasa, mausoleum and a mosque. Typically in madrasas, additional crafts and Asian knowledge are being passed down from generation to generation, be it wood carving, carpet weaving, drawing and more. Today, this madrasa keeps the ancient Usman Quran, one of the rarest manuscripts of the Holy Book, which was brought from Syria by Timur in the 14th century. Speaking of Timur, this statue in the city center is showing the importance of this ruler for Uzbek people. About 1 hour and 20 minutes of driving from Tashkent lies Ugam Chatkal National Park, an outdoor paradise offering hiking, adventure sports activities, or just relaxing in the heart of nature. On the way, drivers are usually careful not to go over the speed limit due to many radars and cameras. Although Uzbekistan is not typical mountaineering destination such as Kyrgyzstan or Tajikistan, its landscape is filled with beautiful views. UNESCO declared the Chatkal Mountains a World Heritage Site in 2016. This entire region is commonly referred to as Chimgan, named after the largest nearby town and its highest peak, Malyy Chimgan, with a height over 3,300 meters. The town lies in the altitude of 1,600 meters in the western Tian Shan Mountains, and its name is translated as the Green Valley. Chimgan provides hotel complexes, and during the winter, visitors can enjoy skiing. In summer, it offers an escape from heat in Tashkent, nice hiking trails or cable cars, such as this one from the Soviet era, leading up to the altitude of 1,000 meters. One of the most popular local hikes leads to the Malyy Chimgan peak, about 4 kilometers from the city center. The trail offers nice view, be it on Chorvoq reservoir, also known as sea for locals, or one can enjoy observing the highest majestic peaks in the distance, some of them being in Kazakhstan or Kyrgyzstan. On the way, groups of dogs are ubiquitous, often joining hikers for whole trail. This terrain is ideal for bears, lynxes, bustards, mountain goats, and even rare snow leopards. Chimgan is a border area, therefore soldiers are frequent here, such as this group on horses. Horse riding is also a popular attraction among tourists. This place used to be famous sanatoria center in Soviet times. Chimgan today, however, struggles. There are so many unfinished houses and resorts, falling into despair due to financial issues. The deeper one gets into the town, the more the infrastructure and the surroundings deteriorate. Now it's time to descend from the mountains and explore history of the Silk Road. For that, there is no better place than Bukhara. To get there, let's head to Tashkent Vokzal train station. The fastest means of transportation is to board the high-speed Afrosiyob train covering distance of approximately 600 kilometers. This 4-hour ride offers a swift passage through the varying Uzbek landscape. The speed of this Spanish-designed train rises up to 250 kilometers per hour, and the journey begins with a short refreshment. a combination of tea, also known as chai, and croissant in an authentic package. The highlight of the journey is the opportunity to engage in conversation with the friendly locals who enjoy spending the ride getting to know their fellow passengers. The Bukhara train station is a bit further from the city center. Fortunately, taxis are ready and available on every corner in this city of 260,000 inhabitants. The 13-kilometer journey to the center costs just about $1.50. Also known as the Central Asia's holiest city, Bukhara has buildings spanning 1,000 years of history and thoroughly lived-in old center that hasn't changed too much in the last 2 centuries. Maintaining the ambience of the ancient Silk Road, the city offers over 140 historical state-protected sites, including madrasas, mosques, minarets, and Grand Royal Fortress. Accommodations in Bukhara often bear centuries of history themselves, making the town a favorite destination for tourists seeking a glimpse into Uzbekistan's past. Bukhara offers many souvenir shops and ubiquitous vendors selling various goods, such as these iconic babushkas selling bread in the baby carriage. The city also boasts numerous museums with focus on textiles and carpets. Visitors can enjoy live music events and fill the stomach with traditional cuisine, such as langman noodle with fried mutton, or manti, steamed dumplings filled either with meat and onion or pumpkin and potatoes. Of course, each meal has to include tea, a symbol of hospitality offered to every guest in a small bowl. During the 9th and 10th centuries, Bukhara flourished as Central Asia's religious and cultural hub, with many influential philosophers, medics, and poets such as Ibn Sina and Rudaki, with similar importance in the Persian world as Shakespeare has in the West. However, the city faced a period of decline in the 14th century, after the invasion of Chinggis Khan. Then it fell under the shadow of Timur's Samarkand. Later on, Bukhara regained its reputation of a vital stop on the Silk Road, offering dozens of specialized bazaars and places offering stays for tired animals and travelers. The city also included more than 300 mosques and hosted over 10,000 students in local madrasas. Popular among Bukhara's rulers was Nasrallah Khan, also known as the Butcher, who seized the throne by eliminating his brothers and 28 other relatives. He gained notoriety in Victorian England after executing 2 British officers who were forced to dig their own graves in the front of the city ark, before being beheaded to the sound of drums and reed pipes. The ark stands upon the remains of earlier structure. The top layer of discovered wall dates back to the 4th century AD, while the second wall traces its origins all the way back to the 4th century before Christ. Many times it was constructed, many times destroyed. In legend, the creator of the ark was the hero Siyavush. As a youth, he fell in love with the daughter of the ruler Afrosiyob. He agreed then to marry if Siyavush would first build a palace bounded by a bullskin, obviously an impossible task. Yet he cleverly cut the bullskin into slender strips, connecting them to form the boundary within which he built the palace. The ark also housed a remarkable library, praised by Avicenna. I found in this library such books, which I had never before seen in my life, with great depths of knowledge, which I had not surmised to exist. The ark's walls, built of mud bricks in a geologically active area, tend to withstand earthquakes, while strategically placed towers serve to defend against attacks from various angles. In 1918, a party of Russian emissaries was massacred in Bukhara. Bolsheviks then stormed the ark, leading to the destruction of numerous historical buildings inside. Till then, Ark was serving as a royal enclave occupied from the 5th century. After the Bolsheviks' attack, most of the Ark interior turned to ruins. Opposite the Ark's gate is the functioning Polo House mosque with stunning painted wood, carved columns, and detailed ceiling. Now let's explore the city center, with a stop at the famous Lyabi House Plaza, meaning around the pool. As the name suggests, the plaza, dating back to 1620, has a refreshing source of water. It is an iconic place of the town, surrounded by hundreds of years old mulberry trees. Once it was a meeting point for older men playing chess and other games, now it is a modern place with daily live music events. 100 years ago, Bukhara was intertwined with canals and 200 stone pools, where locals gathered for socializing, drinking, and washing. However, because the water wasn't changed often, diseases such as plague spread quickly, with the average Bukharan in the 19th century reportedly died by the age of 32. The Bolsheviks cleaned the water system and removed most of the pools, but a few, like Lyabi House, remains as a glimpse into the city's past. Close by is Nadir Divan-begi, a madrasa featuring exhibits of ceramics and clothing. The madrasa is famous for its decoration of peacocks, lambs, and sun with a human face, going against the Islamic tradition of avoiding depictions of living beings. One of the most photographed sites is Char Minar Mosque, which bears resemblance to Indian architectural styles. It is actually just the entrance gate of a former madrasa constructed in 1807. The name translates to 4 minarets in Tajik, although they remind decorative towers. For less than $50, visitors can ascend to the roof and admire the charming minarets close up. In Bukhara, visitors can explore numerous covered bazaars, each with traditions spanning over 500 years. These bazaars are filled with souvenir shops with jewelry, knives, clothes, carpets, and more. Common are small hand-painted pottery figures symbolizing traditional heroes or tea house owners with trays of tea, dressed in traditional clothing. Between the bazaar lies Central Asia's oldest surviving mosque, Makoki Attar, showcasing a blend of 9th century facade and the 16th century reconstruction. This site is the town's most sacred spot. Archaeologists discovered remains of a pre-Islamic Zoroastrian temple and even Buddhist temple beneath. Zoroastrianism, devoting fire, is one of the world's oldest religions, originating from ancient Persia. Central to its beliefs is the concept of dualism, with the constant struggle between good and evil. Legends has it that the mosque was protected from the Mongols by being buried in sand by locals. Indeed, when the archaeological work started about 100 years ago, only the top part was visible. While walking the streets of Bukhara, the towering Kalon minaret is visible on every turn. Built by the ruler Arslan Khan in 1127, it was once the tallest structure in Central Asia, earning its name Kalon, meaning great in Tajik. Standing at 47 meters tall, with a 10-meter deep foundations, including reeds stacked underneath, as an early earthquake-proofing, this architectural masterpiece has endured for nearly 9 centuries. Genghis Khan was so impressed by its architecture that he spared it from destruction, while his troops tore down the rest of the town. Glazed blue tiles were used for the first time, later on widely applied under Timur and his successors. The minaret was damaged during the Russian attacks on the Ark, as can be seen on some newer, lighter patches. Luckily, the damage was minor. At the base of the minaret stands the Kalon Mosque, built on the site of an earlier complex destroyed by Chinggis Khan. With a capacity for 10,000 worshippers, it belongs to one of the biggest mosques in the area. After serving as a warehouse during Soviet times, it was reopened for worshipping in 1991, inviting visitors to admire its beauty both day and night. Facing the minaret is the Mir-e Arab Madrasa, especially lovely in the evening with its colorful lights. It is named after Mir-e Arab, an influential sheikh from Yemen from the 16th century, whose tomb lies inside. Right next to the complex, a lesson of physical education took place with kids running between the mosques. In preparation for the journey ahead and a 7-hour train ride to the town of Khiva, it was essential to buy some refreshments. Packets of curds were the obvious choice. Once arriving to Khiva, the clay walls of the historical center welcome every visitor. Khiva is a relatively small town in the west part of Uzbekistan, with population reaching 90,000. Its name, connected with the slave trade and terror, resembled fear for many years in the past. Now it's a friendly and atmospheric Silk Road old town with many sights to offer. Ichon Qala, the historic center, is so well preserved that it's sometimes criticized as too lifeless and known as the Museum City. According to legend, Khiva traces its origin to the discovery of a well by Shem, son of Noah. The original well still exists within an 18th century courtyard in the northwest of the old town. In the 8th century, Khiva was a trading port within the Khwarezm region, bordered to the north by the Aral Sea. The town gained importance for its slave market, which shaped the fate of the Khivan Khanate for over 3 centuries. Slaves were primarily captured by Turkmen and Kazakh tribes. In the early 18th century, the Khan of Khiva sought Peter the Great's aid against tribes. 4,000 Russian soldiers arrived, but then the Khan lost interest and massacred the army, and surviving soldiers were sent into slavery. Khiva later fell to Persia, then Russia in the late 19th century. Khiva is a place of weddings. The wedding day begins in the morning, as the young couple, accompanied by their friends, relatives, and videographers, race each other in cars covered by flowers, balloons, a plastic doll strapped to the bridal car, and a teddy bear to the grooms. Weddings are in Uzbekistan a big deal, with families sometimes spending up to $50,000. These celebrations typically involve hundreds, if not even thousands of guests. The newly married couple visits several holy sites of Khiva, especially in Ichon Qala, historical center, a home to dozens of mausolea, mosques and madrasas, many of which have small museums inside. A walk along the Ichon Qala walls provide an excellent vantage point for sunset views. The 2.5-kilometer long mud walls, dating from the 18th century, were reconstructed by the Persians after they had destroyed them upon conquering the city. One of the most typical and unique Khivan sites is Kalta Minor, a fat turquoise minaret which history dates back to the 1851. According to a legend, a local Khan wanted to build a minaret so high he could see all the way to Bukhara. However, the Khan passed away 4 years later, leaving the structure incomplete. The Islom Hoja Madrasa, one of Khiva's most impressive attractions, allows visitors to ascend its 57-meter tall minaret, the tallest in Uzbekistan, for 100,000 som per entrance, roughly $8. This fee is relatively expensive in comparison with other entrance tickets in the country. After a steep and vertical ascent, panoramic views unfold. From this point, entire Khiva is visible, and even neighboring Turkmenistan. The original mud and straw material used in the town's building contribute to its historical and magical atmosphere. Islom Hoja himself, who lived in the early 20th century, was a significant figure in Khiva, who met a tragic end. He established a European-style school, introduced long-distance telegraphy, and constructed a hospital. The Khan did not enjoy his rising popularity and got him assassinated. Numerous madrasas, forts, and mosques within Ichon Qala were built from the 12th to 14th century, each structure carrying hundreds of years of history within its walls. These buildings have so many stories to tell. Khiva's presence on one of the highest Uzbek banknotes highlights its cultural significance in the country. Tourists can try shivit osh, Khivan green noodles, called by dill, and the most popular national dish, plov, a Central Asian pilaf consisting of traditionally lamb meat, rice, and fried vegetables. Each region prepares its own original version. Another beloved food among Uzbek people is bread. Numerous bakeries preparing bread in traditional tandoori ovens can be found along the town streets. Each region has its own version of bread, often decorated with various patterns using tools like this one. In Ichon Qala, visitors can enjoy various performances and shows daily. To promote local traditions and culture, partnerships are being established with musical theaters in the region. Puppet theater in particular is very popular. The tradition of puppets in Uzbekistan dates to the 4th century BC, gaining widespread acceptance during the 14th century under the reign of Timur. Back then, puppet shows were beloved traditions, frequently performed in lively squares during fairs and folk festivals. These shows portrayed themes like wealth, poverty, love, friendship, and betrayal. The craft of puppeteers is traditionally passed down from master to apprentice, generation by generation. Uzbekistan government is trying to impress visitors and often demotivates to leave the clean and appealing tourist sites in the historical centers. However, going beyond Ichon Qala and exploring other parts of Khiva is important to see the local way of life. Another remarkable site in Khiva is Nurullaboy Palace. As Ichon Qala had no room to expand, the palace had been constructed outside the historical center. Built between 1906 to 1912, its architectural masterpiece offers a glimpse into the intersection of Eastern and Western influences. In its halls, visitors are transported back in time to different era. With its rich interiors featuring gold-embroidered ceilings, ceramic chimneys, and towering mirrors, the palace presents a captivating narrative of Khiva's past. Some of the rooms host several informative exhibitions with a focus on local history and culture. Before the palace was built, the wealthy merchant Nurullaboy, owning the land, insisted that his property could only be sold under the one condition: the palace would be named after him. As a result, Nurullaboy Palace still carries its name to this day. Following a lengthy 12-hour train ride through cotton fields and the expansive Kizilkum Desert, travelers reach Samarkand. Speaking of the cotton, Uzbekistan ranks as its fifth largest producer worldwide. However, decades of monoculture have caused the Aral Sea to dry up and depleted the land, leaving it saturated with salt and pesticides. Now let's get back to Samarkand, the symbolic city of the Silk Road, chosen by the UN as the 2023 World Tourism Capital. With its population over 500,000, it stands as one of the Uzbekistan's largest cities, always admired for its majestic beauty. It's a place where Western poets and dreamers have set their charming stories, despite the fact that just a few of them ever had the chance to see its sights firsthand. Established in the 8th century before Christ, Samarkand is one of the oldest Central Asian settlements and bears exceptionally rich history. After Alexander the Great took over the town and married local chieftain daughter Roxana, he said, "Everything I have heard about Samarkand is true, except that it's more beautiful than I ever imagined." During the Middle Ages, the town changed hands between various rulers, the Turks, Arabs, Persians, and Mongolians, each leaving their mark on the city's history. Despite the destruction of Chinggis Khan in 1220, Samarkand experienced a remarkable revival when Timur chose it as his capital. During 35 years, Timur transformed the city into a dazzling metropolis. And under the rule of his grandson Ulugh Beg, Samarkand further flourished as an educational center. Later on, Samarkand experienced a period of decline. A series of earthquakes left the city uninhabited for several decades. Its revival came with Russians, who also reconstructed one of the most important sites of Central Asia, Registan. The three world's oldest preserved madrasas, some say they should belong to the world's 7 wonders. Translated from Tajik as sandy place, Registan was the medieval Samarkand's commercial center and bazaar. Having withstood the ravages of time and numerous earthquakes, these buildings are proving the great skill of their builders. At the beginning of the 20th century, Registan was at the brink of collapse, but restored by the Soviets. Let's look at the first Registan's majestic building, the Ulugh Beg Madrasa, completed during the reign of Timur's grandson Ulugh Beg, who is said to taught here personally. Common subjects were mathematics, theology, astronomy, and philosophy. Ulugh Beg's passion for astronomy is reflected in the stars decorating the entrance. Visitors can climb its minaret for a small fee and enjoy a view from above. Nearby, Ulugh established an advanced observatory where he conducted precise observations that shaped medieval astronomy. Ulugh main achievement was his astronomical catalogue, documenting over 1,000 stars with exceptional precision. However, even his brilliance could not shield him from tragedy. His son's rebellion led to his capture and execution. Now his name lives on in 2 places in the universe: a minor planet discovered in 1977 and also Ulugh crater on the moon. Facing Ulugh madrasa stands the shared door complex, decorated with felines resembling tigers, though intended to represent lions, along with Zoroastrian-inspired sun motifs. This design choice once again challenges Islamic norms prohibiting the depiction of living animals. Although ceramics and other goods are available for purchase inside, prices tend to be higher than elsewhere in the country. Between these 2 buildings lies the middle Tilakari Madrasa, with a cozy courtyard. Inside can be found the highlight of Registan, the majestic blue-golden interior symbolizing Samarkand's prosperity. On the 18th of November each year, a march passes through the streets in front of Registan, marking the anniversary of the adoption of the current flag as a state symbol. The flag's symbolism is as follows. Blue represents the sky and water. White signifies peace and purity. Green symbolizes nature, while the red stripes represent life. The crescent with stars symbolizes the birth of a new nation, spirituality, and is also associated with Islam. Northeast of the Registan lies the Bibi Khanum Mosque, founded from the gains of Timur's invasion to India. Once, it stood as one of the largest mosques in the Islamic world, and its construction pushed former techniques to their limits. Legend has it that the Bibi Khanum, Timur's Chinese wife, ordered to build the mosque as a surprise while her husband was away. The architect demanded a kiss as a condition for completing the project. This kiss supposedly left a mark, and once Timur saw it, he had the architect executed and demanded that women should wear veils to deter similar temptations. Shahi Zinda, Samarkand's most picturesque site, is an avenue of mausoleums with some of the most beautiful tile work in the Muslim world. In English, Tomb of the Living King originates from the earliest established grave in the area, belonging to Qasim ibn Abbas. He is credited with introducing Islam to the region in the 7th century. The sister and niece of Timur are buried here as well. Despite surviving more than 7 centuries with minimal repairs, controversy arose when many of the tombs underwent restoration in 2005, which altered the original mosaic. Behind the complex lies the widespread main Samarkand cemetery with sections for Muslims and Jews. Now let's explore Gur-e-Amir Mausoleum, the final resting place for Timur, as well as his 2 sons and grandsons, including Ulugh Beg. In translation, Tomb of the King, surprisingly modest in appearance, reflects Timur's original intention to be buried in a simple crypt at Chakri Sab, a mountainous site near Samarkand. However, Timur's sudden death from pneumonia during winter led to his burial here instead, as the roads to Chakri Sab were covered in snow. Like many Muslim mausoleums, the visible stones serve as markers, while the actual crypts are in a chamber beneath. The interior is made of a precious onyx. At the center lies Timur's stone, a block of dark green jade, with 1.8 meters being once the largest block of jade in the world. In 1740, the stone was taken to Persia by the warlord Nadir Shah, where it accidentally broke into two. Since then, Nadir Shah experienced misfortunes, including the near death of his son. Once he listened to his religious advisors, he returned the stone to Samarkand. His son magically recovered. In 1941, Soviet anthropologists opened the crypt once again and reportedly found an inscription: "Whoever opens this will be defeated by an enemy more fearsome than I." The following day, on June 22nd, Hitler attacked the Soviet Union. Our day concluded, a warm invitation from a local family who generously hosted us and prepared delicious Samarkand plov. From the lively shows of Khiva to the ancient Bukhara, majestic sights of Samarkand, bustling Tashkent, to the snowy mountains of Chimgan, every corner of Uzbekistan tells a unique story. With its affordable prices, natural landscapes, fascinating history, architectural masterpieces, and the warmth of local hospitality, Uzbekistan is just a paradise for travelers.